Welcome back to the Rich Bitch era. I want to talk about a topic that has been on a couple of the episodes recently, and I want to really take these topics and dive deeper into them because they are so relevant to building a business. They're so relevant to building wealth, and they're so relevant to success in general. And those topics are failure, rejection, and a healthy level of delulu. So when it comes to failure, and we just spoke about this with the beautiful Anna Rose, when it comes to failure, this is such a big part of our journey in especially business, but also in just getting ahead in life. And you wouldn't talk to your child and say, "Oh my gosh, Johnny, you're so shit. You tried to learn how to ride a bike and you didn't get it on the first time. You really failed. You should just give up." You would never say that. You would encourage them to keep going until they get better at something, until they master it, or until they can do something. Yet our inner critic and our inner little bitchy voice in our head often gets up in arms because we're not perfect at something the first time we do it. And this topic was really very heavily inspired by a panel that I watched at a mining expo the other day. What was I doing at a mining expo, you ask? Very random that I was there. I have an incredible woman that I mentor in this business. She sells the same wellness technology as me, and she decided to go all in pitching to businesses. Now, she has invested 5 figures to be at this mining expo and all of the related marketing collateral that she created for this. And we were there and I was helping her at the stall, and then she had this incredible opportunity to be on a panel. So I went and watched her and took some footage of the panel. And there was a couple of gentlemen on the panel who were serial entrepreneurs. They were entrepreneurs that had many businesses, and not just in any industry, in the mining industry, where you really have to invest 5 figures or more, multi 5 figures, to even get a business off the ground. And one of the gentlemen, his name was David, he said something. He opened up one of his answers to one of the questions with a quote that I was just nodding to and full body yes to. He said, "We invest so much money in helping people succeed and not enough money in helping people to learn how to fail." And he was specifically talking about research and development, university, tertiary education, all of that. But I take that quote and I really believe that it is relevant in any industry. If you learn to fail and you learn to fail forward and you learn to learn from those mistakes and how you can actually get better every single time. And this is why I always preach to actually practice, not rehearse. And there is a difference. That you might think that those two words mean the same thing, but they don't. When you practice something, the intention is for you to get better at it. When you rehearse something, the intention is for it to be the same every time. Roughly the same every time. If you rehearse a play, you're literally doing the same thing every single time that you rehearse it. Whereas practicing has the intention of getting better and better every time. So when I heard that quote, I was thinking a lot about how much I have failed in my, 10 years in business, over 10 years, actually about 12 years in network marketing, in doing various things, low ticket network marketing, high ticket network marketing, coaching programs, creating my own courses, products, all of the things. And every single time I failed, it has felt horrible at the time. But then in hindsight, it has always been such a key redirection and a key lesson that has gotten me so much further. And the big thing about failure, especially for driven people, is until you become comfortable with it and until you really have a relationship with failure where it's welcomed and it isn't a poor reflection on you, or you don't take it as a attack on your ability, it is actually such a crucial part of your growth. It is such a crucial part of the pathway to success. And so failure is something that it's really like if you look at a stepping stone path, like if there was 10 stepping stones, each of those stepping stones is failure to get you to the end destination. And I'm sharing this story about the Mining Expo because I was speaking to this beautiful woman about, just how proud I was that she'd invested in this and she was doing business this way, which I've never seen anyone do this business in that way, to be quite frank. And I've been doing this for 7 years and I have a huge team and, I've coached and coached my own team and also a lot of people from different teams doing the same business. And I've never seen anyone go to a mining expo. And I said to her, the amount of work you've put in, like months and months of research on the mining industry, on the key problems in that industry, on how she can solve those problems, on the marketing materials she created for this opportunity, on video assets and tools and all these things that she created from scratch in order to then get to the point of being at this 3-day mining expo. 90% of the work was done before she got there. But when we got there and there was a little bit of nerves around like, will it pay off? Will there be an ROI? Will I get sales from this? I said to her, you've already won, babe. Like you've already won. The fact that you'd put in this much work, how can you possibly not get an ROI on this? Whether it's from this expo or someone you meet or someone down the track, you put in so much work that it's only up from here. Because even if you completely pivoted industries, like I'm talking completely pivoted to like the wine or the whiskey industry and you started to do research on, the water that they use, because we sell water ionizers and water technology, you started to do research on, how pivotal it is, the source water used to create wine or whiskey. You've done it once already in an industry you're not familiar with. So you have proven to yourself that you can know nothing about an industry, do some deep, deep research, create a solution to a problem they have in that industry and go and find opportunities to go and market that and go and network in that industry. So I was like, you've already won. There's only up from here and there's only a return on the investment of yes, money, but time and energy and focus. And I wish more people understood that there is a huge return on not giving up. On not giving up when you're 2,000 hours in to 10,000 hours of expertise in an area, or 2,000 hours into 10,000 hours of just experience, just literally getting your hands dirty, doing something and getting better and better, practicing, not rehearsing every single time. That is what really creates success, successful brands, successful businesses, successful offerings, when you don't take any single failure as a reason to quit. And this brings me to the next topic. Failure is a huge win, really. Like if you're failing, you're learning something and it's just going to help you get ahead. But the next one is rejection. And rejection is something very common in the business world, in the network marketing world, in any type of sales where you have to pitch, you have to get leads and have a certain number of leads convert to sales. Like it's a really big part of it. And a lot of people take rejection as a personal attack. They will be rejected and they will make that mean something about them, rather than a rejection simply being a reflection of someone saying no to something that potentially isn't for them. So think about, and this is what I was thinking about when I heard this gentleman on this panel. I was thinking about how many successful Hollywood movie stars, how many successful authors, how many successful entrepreneurs have pitched their idea, pitched their book, gone to auditions, gone and pitched for a investor and had them say no, and that have been rejected and that have been knocked back. Every successful person in every single industry has had to have multiple rejections before they really hit it big time, because they were willing to do that. They were willing to shoot their shot and get a no and get back up and keep going. And they didn't make it mean anything about them. They didn't make it mean that their idea was dumb or that they were a failure. They didn't assign any meaning to it. And that's the most important thing with rejection, is not making it mean that what you're doing is wrong or that it's not going to work. And this is where the healthy level of delulu comes in. When you can have a healthy level of delusion, in that, I say healthy because it needs to be safe. It needs to be safe for you, the situation that you're in. But when it's a healthy level of delusion where you know that what you are doing is something that is going to help you get to your vision. You know that you've seen it before. You've had the permission slip from other people doing the same and walking the same walk. You know that you can get there if you simply do not stop and you do not quit. Then all you need to do is to keep going. You need to be so much more committed to the long term and the vision than you are the timeline. And this is where I see people really go wrong, is they're committed to a certain timeline, and if they don't get there by that timeline, all the time and energy that they've put into learning those skills or building that business all goes out the window because they quit. And people quit too soon because they grossly overestimate what they will make or succeed or achieve in a year, and they grossly underestimate what they will achieve or succeed at in 5 to 10 years. And if you really nut down and learn the skill sets of an industry, you really can't go wrong. It's so important to understand that there is a internship level and an internship season to every single industry. And so if you wanted to be the best agency owner, then go and actually work in an agency, a small agency where you get way more access and way more proximity to the owner. If you wanted to have a really successful restaurant or cafe, go and work in one and try and, the smaller the business, the better, because then you have proximity to the owner. Same with if you wanted to build a really successful online business, go and work directly with someone that has the results that you want to have. Be that as a coach, be that as a mentor, reaching out and asking for support. Oftentimes people struggle and they quit, but they haven't actually, they have not overturned every single stone looking for the answer. They haven't asked for support. They haven't, gone and done the work. They haven't learnt from the best and the people that have the results that they want to have. And so they quit, or they, in inverted commas, fail at the thing because they've quit too soon and before they've really given something a red hot go. So failure and rejection are both integral parts of success. The next time you get a no, the next time you get rejected, the next time your proposal or your pitch or a lead says no to you, it gets knocked back, see it as part of the stepping stone towards the final destination, right? And your next sale or your next yes. The more you do that, the more you're rewiring your body to see a no or a rejection as safe. You need to feel in your body that it's safe to get rejected. It's safe to get a no. It's safe to be knocked back. Nothing bad is going to happen from that happening in your world. Nothing bad is going to happen by someone ghosting you or someone saying no to the opportunity. Because here's the thing. They are saying no to the opportunity, to the pitch, to the product, to whatever it is that you are asking them if they're interested in. They're not saying no to you. They're two very distinct things. I personally like to really distinguish them, because if you made every single rejection about you, your self-belief and your self-worth would go down the drain in a millisecond. Whereas if you distinguish them and you don't take things personally, which is a wonderful way to live your life. If you've read the 4 agreements, you know not to take anything personally because it's usually not about you. Then you'll learn so much about rejection, and you'll see it as something that's really growing you and growing you as a person and growing your skin a bit thicker, but also something that you can learn so much from in your resilience as well. The other side to rejection and failure is a healthy amount of growth mindset and a healthy amount of going, okay, well, if I'm consistently getting no's and not yeses, at what point do I go, okay, maybe it's my strategy and maybe I need to change my strategy? And everything is feedback. Whether you want to reject it or accept it, everything is feedback. And if you look at the generic numbers in your industry, so I'll take network marketing, 1 out of every 10 warm lead is going to say yes. If it's cold leads, like, recently, a couple months ago, I went very viral on my page from a couple of trial reels and a reel on my grid about my legacy income and my family and us blowing out the candles on a cake when I went legacy. And all of the leads were cold. So it had a lower conversion rate than if all of the leads were warm. Being warm, being people that knew me, had followed me, I had rapport with, there was some level of trust there was some level of relationship there, right? So you've got to look at the numbers and remove yourself and look at it objectively rather than subjectively and go, okay, well, am I going to look at this and take it really personally, or can I look at this and look at the numbers and the averages and take it as feedback on what may not be working and what might need to pivot in my strategy or in my approach? And so the two are really important. Yes, don't take anything personally. And also at the same time, feedback is feedback. So it doesn't mean anything about you, but it might mean something about your strategy. It might mean something about the approach or the wording or the sales process that you have just may not be working, right? It doesn't mean anything about you. It doesn't mean that you're a failure or anything about you, but it is feedback. And oftentimes I do see people kind of in an empowering way trying to kind of gaslight you into saying like it's the other person, or don't worry, babe, like, you don't want them in your team anyway, or you don't want them, or they're just not for you, or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, sometimes it's not a fit. And also sometimes you got to take feedback and put your big girl panties on and go like, okay, cool. Well, I got that feedback. How can I grow from it? How can I get better? How can I move forward in a way that's actually going to further my craft and further my skill set in this area, rather than putting the blame onto everything outside of me? So there's so much magic in rejection. There's so much magic in failure. And there's so much magic in having a healthy level of delulu. Okay, let's get really delulu, babe. Like, it is almost the end of the year. A healthy level of delulu. Where would you like to be by the end of 2026? How would you like to feel? Who are you with? What do you look like? What does it feel like to be around you? What does it feel like to be in your energy? And what impact are you making in the world? I ask these questions because legacy has been a really big topic this year for me as I went legacy, the rank of legacy in January. So all year, it's been a really big topic in my content. And I believe your legacy is right here, right now, in your lifetime, not when you leave the earth. Yes, that happens as well when you leave the earth. But what would people already say about you when you're not in the room? How would they speak very fondly about what they get from being in your presence, or from learning from you, or the way that you empower people, or the impacts that you're having in a certain area? Be that your family, your friends, clients, people in your team, whatever that is, your legacy, to me, doesn't start when you leave this earth. It starts when you actually make the decision to make an impact. It's day one of that. So it's what people say about you when you're not in the room, when they're talking favorably about you and they're complimenting you. What is it? What is your dream that they are saying? How do you want to have impacted and helped people and supported people? Maybe it's inspired people, empowered people. Like, what is that word for you in what area? Because having a healthy level of delulu is thinking big when it comes to your vision and your purpose, and thinking really big when it comes to how you want to leave this earth and what you want to be said about you while you're on this earth as well. So having that healthy level of delulu and knowing exactly what you want, make sure that you visualize it daily. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools that you can have in your tool belt to use as a GPS and use as a guide and use as a use as a pillar to move towards. Every single decision gets so much easier when you know exactly what that Delulu vision is, because you can say yes or no to something in such a considered but fast way when you know exactly where your end result is. It would be like if I got in my car and I wanted to drive to Byron Bay, but I had absolutely no idea where I was going. I was just going to like run with the wind, and I didn't put Byron Bay in as my GPS. If I knew exactly how to get to Byron Bay because it was on the GPS of my car, if I saw a left turn, I wouldn't turn left unless the GPS was set to go there. I would know yes or no straight off the bat in every single twist and turn on my journey, because is it getting me to my end result that I want to have, yes or no? And if it's a no, easy, then I won't take it. If it's a yes, great, then I will. And so knowing what you want and where your end result is, coming back to resilience and rejection and failure, those things won't sway you when you know exactly what you're building and why and what your bigger vision is. Particularly, and this is something that I wanted to share before around rejection, people that are in a business where you're following up with people. So if you're in network marketing or you're a speaker or you're a coach or whatever it is, and you are following up with someone and you don't want to seem salesy, they've seen the message, but they've ghosted you and they haven't responded all of the things, remember that people are busy. Remember that people have things going on in their lives and a million different forms of communication. So I personally love a follow-up. I love when someone has taken the time to follow up with me because I genuinely am so busy. So I love to get a follow-up because it actually reminds me of what I need to do or what I said I would do or what have you, right? Because I'm just a busy person. I also have 3 kids. So, it's like everything quadruples. So that rejection, or someone could take that as rejection, the fact that they need to follow up with me, right? However, if you remove yourself from the situation and you don't make assumptions, this is another really big thing. We cannot assume that we know unless we have facts. And sometimes the emotion gets in the way of that. And we go, okay, well, they must hate me. They must think this. They must be a no, blah, blah, blah. That's just like, do you have facts on that? Is that factually correct? Do you have evidence of that? Or is that an assumption? And when we can remove the emotion from it and be a bit objective and base our actions purely on evidence, that's when you can take rejection out of the equation, because you haven't actually been rejected yet. You've assumed that you have been, but you haven't. Because based on the evidence, there has been no yes or no. And this is where the delusional GPS, the goal, the vision, the bigger picture is so important, because if it was really important to you, you would follow up with that opportunity. You would follow up with that person. You would go and get 100 no's. You would go and keep going even when you don't feel like it or even when things are tough. You would just keep going, because why wouldn't you? Why would you not keep going when you know what the end result is? Why would you not keep going when you know that at the end of the road is the exact life, the dream day, the dream life that you want to be living? I would say you've got more reason than ever to get rejected and get no's or fail forward, because the sooner you get there, the sooner you get to spend the rest of your life living that lifestyle. The longer you put things off, the longer you are not all in, the longer you decide every day whether you're in or not, or you make these excuses, or it's easy for them, they can because of this, but you can't because of this reason, whatever it is. The longer you are putting off the results that you could have had earlier had you not gotten in your own way. So I hope that you've taken from this that nothing is more important. Nothing, no rejection, no failure, no one else's opinion is more important than your goal and your vision and where you could be and you have the potential of getting. That's what's really important. So I'm going to leave this with a bit of a plug of something that I have created recently. So in the last couple of years, I have created some really amazing courses that are specifically designed for network marketers and coaches. And obviously, in the company that I'm in, I've used these in my own business. And they have been around increasing your following, increasing your engagement, having conversations that convert in the DMs, getting 100 leads a week, building your rock solid belief in yourself and in the areas that you need to have like rock solid belief in order to have success. And also things like how to speak to someone in a really empowering way and handle their objections, how to move things along in the sales process. All of these beautiful masculine things wrapped up in a feminine bow of how to do it in a really empowering way that doesn't feel salesy, that doesn't feel icky. Each of these courses on their own range anywhere between $29 and $99 US. I have actually created a membership that is $199 USD per year, and it includes a couple of hot seat coaching sessions so that you can ask your questions and get live feedback from other people in the same industry as you, and be going through the education that I've created and the courses I've created with actual live feedback, because it's one thing to get access to all of my blueprints, everything that I've used to build my business, but it's another to get my eyes on your problems and help me solve them, and help me to actually give you an objective point of view as well. So all of that is in my Rich Bitch Academy in school. So the link is in the show notes, and for a very limited time, it's going to be $199 USD just until the end of the year. So you guys are going to have like the first access to that while it's $199 USD per year. This is especially for the people that I reckon every week I get a couple of people in my inbox doing this, asking if they can move over to my team. And as we know, within this industry, it's not a done thing. And often the problem isn't who you're working with. It's actually the fact that maybe you don't have the support, or it's not taught in a way that really resonates with you. So if that is you, then you're more than welcome to learn from me in the Rich Bitch Academy. I have intentionally kept it really low investment so that it is super accessible to everyone, and you don't feel like you need to go and invest 5 figures into just learning and getting that support, because you probably have the vehicle, you probably have a really big vision, and that's already set in stone. But what you may not have is the proper support to get you there, or the strategies that feel really good for you. So if how I run my business and how I show up on my Instagram, how I show up in this podcast, the things that you hear me talk about, if they feel good for you, then head to Rich Bitch Academy and you can look at that as well. I've also got, until the end of the year, only 5 places, but 5 spots available for a one-on-one coaching session as well. So in that, I do a deep dive into your entire sales process from lead to converted sale, and also look at everything from auditing your social media, your content, how you're getting leads, to how they're converting or not converting. And this is something that you can then duplicate within your team and the people that you mentor as well. So there's only 5 spots available for that, but I have had a lot of people asking for a mentorship, and the 10-week mentorship that I was going to do, I just have not had the capacity for it. And I'd rather work with a couple of select people who really just need that extra one-on-one deep dive, 90-minute support and 2 weeks of DM support afterwards than run a whole program. So you are welcome to message me about that. The link is in the show notes as well. And I hope that you are able to really finish this year strongly and with so much intention and the right energy, and just really knowing where you're going, really knowing what that healthy Delulu goal is and that healthy Delulu vision. And I really look forward to bringing more value and more guests and more offerings on this podcast next year to help you get there and really step into your Rich Bitch era, because you are the reason I'm here. You're the reason I share what I share on the podcast. And if you have any feedback, or if there's anything that you would love to have as topics or guests as speakers on the podcast, I'd love to hear from you. So head to @RichBitchEra, the Instagram, and message me on there if you've got any feedback as well. Thank you so much for being here. Big love, and I will see you in the next episode.